All right, hello and welcome everyone to week 9 of oral communications. As I said, today we're going to be doing a lecture as a bit of an experiment really. And we're going to be looking at two processes of speech or presentation. One is the technical presentation and the other is the motivational speech. And we're going to be using, I'm going to go through the technical presentation. I'm going to experiment on it with you as willing and active participants in this conversation. And then I'm going to look at the motivational speech in contrast, just on a few slides before we go into tutorials and do an exercise to work on what we've now learned. All right, so I want to start by actually showing you a video. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm still admitting people, excuse me. All right, so you're able to see my slides and let me just, admit a few more. Can I do that? Yes. Okay, so you're able to see my screen. And here's what I'm going to do today. Here's my hypothesis. My hypothesis is that a great technical presentation needs just two crucial ingredients. And these are: one, identifying expectations, and two, offering a clean sequential addition of information. And while I think you may know these, I think we've done so many lectures where I've set out processes and lists of things that you can follow in order to create a plan. But I wanted to get away from that today and kind of narrow it down to just these two features and also burrow into those two features. So I'm going to, as you can probably see my notes at the bottom of the screen there, I'm going to attempt to demonstrate the value of these two ingredients and prove that this hypothesis is true. All right. I'm supposed to be hiding those notes, but let's see, never mind. All right, so we're going to look at this talk together.
Dr. Shepherd, your mic is on mute.
Sorry, I was saying I want us to look at this video together, and Aaliyah was saying that if I put it on a different tab rather than showing it through the PowerPoint, it gives us better audio. Is that correct, Aaliyah?
It should be, because I'm not sure. Can you play videos from Zoom? You should be able to, because it's from your desktop.
Yes, I'm gonna do that. I'm going to share a different screen. So back to me. Going to share a different screen now. Let me see if I have the right one open. Sorry, I'm still admitting a few people. No, this is not the right tab. This is the one I want to show you. No. No. Oh, okay. All right, I've done something wrong. Excuse me. Let me get this sorted. This is the power and the problem of Zoom School. It allows you to do lots of different things and do them very awkwardly, as I am doing now. Okay, bear with me 1 second. Here we are. I'm going to share my screen again. Am I doing it? No, not yet. Apologies. Share screen. Here we go. I want us to look at this video together. Excuse me. Sharing the wrong screen. Sorry. Why am I not showing the right one? Okay. Oh. Okay. This is terrible. Really? Okay, here we go. All right, apologies everyone. Right, so I'm getting it together. So here we are. I'm going to share this screen and we're going to watch this video together. And this I think is quite interesting. And my question to you is, what is this talk doing, or what is this talker doing? Right, let's see if this works. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you're hearing this okay? Okay, great.
That's nothing. Which is what I, as a speaker at today's conference, have for you all. I have nothing. Nada. Zip. Zilch. Zippo. Nothing smart. Nothing inspirational. Nothing even remotely researched at all. I have absolutely nothing to say whatsoever. And yet, through my manner of speaking, I will make it seem like I do. Like what I am saying is brilliant. And maybe, just maybe, you will feel like you've learned something. Now, I'm gonna get started with the opening. I'm gonna make a lot of hand gestures. I'm gonna do this with my right hand. I'm gonna do this with my left. I'm gonna adjust my glasses. And then I'm gonna ask you all a question. By show of hands, how many of you all have been asked a question before? Okay, great, I'm seeing some hands. And again, I have nothing here. Now, I'm gonna react to that and act like I'm telling you a personal anecdote. Something to break the tension, something to endear myself a little bit, something kind of embarrassing. And you guys are gonna make an awe sound. It's true, it really happened. And now I'm gonna bring it to a broader point. I'm gonna reel you back in. I'm gonna make it intellectual. I'm gonna bring it to this man right here. Now, what this man did was important, I'm sure. But I, for one, have no idea who he is. I simply Google image the word scientist. And now, you see, I'd like it to seem like I'm making points, building an argument, inspiring you to change your life, when in reality, this is just me buying time. Now, if you don't believe me, let's take a look at the numbers. This is a real thing that's happening right now. The number of talks that I'm giving is 1. Interesting facts imparted thus far in said talk, well, that's going to be a 0. My height in inches is 70.5. Note the 0.5 there. 2 times 6 equals 12. And then interestingly enough, 6 times 2 also equals 12. That's math. 352 is a 3-digit number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then almost immediately following that, we get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, to add more filler here, I'm going to give you a couple more numbers to consider. 18, 237, 5,601, 2.6 million, 4, 24, staggering. These are real numbers, all of them. And to follow that up, let's take a look at some graphs. Now, if you take a look at this pie chart, what you're going to see is that the majority far exceeds the minority. Everybody see that? Cool, isn't it? And let's take a look at this bar graph because it shows similarly irrelevant data. Now, I'm doing this because I'd like to make it seem like I've done my homework. If you were, say, watching this on YouTube with the sound off, you might think, huh, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. But I don't. I'm floundering, panicking, I've got nothing. I'm a total and utter phony. But you know what? I was offered a TED Talk. And damn it, I'm gonna see it through. Now, if you take a look behind me, these are just words paired with vaguely thought-provoking stock photos. I'm gonna point at them like I'm making use both of my time as well as your time, but in reality, I don't know what half of them mean. And now, as these continue, I'm just gonna start saying gibberish. Wagga wah, gabba gabba, turkey, mouth in a mouth, chip, trip, my dog Skip. Rip it and dip it, Richard. I'm an itty-bitty baby bopper, and I'm hungry in my tum-tum. Brad Pitt, Uma Thurman. Names, things, words, and more things. And see, it feels like it might make sense, doesn't it? Like maybe, just maybe, I'm building to some sort of satisfying conclusion. I mean, I'm gesticulating as though I am. I'm pacing, I'm growing in intensity. I'm taking off my glasses, which, by the way, are just frames. I wore them to look smart, even though my vision is perfect. And now I'm going to slow things down a little bit. I'm going to change the tone. I'm going to make it seem like I'm building to a moment. And what if I was? Amazing, isn't it? What can you do? Life's a roller coaster. You know, if there's one thing you take away from my talk, I'd like you to think about what you heard at the beginning. And I'd like you to think about what you hear now. Because it was nothing, and it's still nothing. Think about that. Or don't, that's fine. And now I'm going to stop talking. Thank you.
All right, so let me just stop sharing that screen and come back to my, what am I coming back to? I'm coming back to this one, back to my PowerPoint. All right, so I suspect either you loved that or you thought it was completely ridiculous. And I think if I can just move on. All right, I'd like to know what people thought was going on there. Maybe I could get some comments from you. What was going on in that talk? Let me ask a slightly different question. Did you like it, or did you think it was ridiculous? To start with,
it was really, really funny.
It was funny. Okay.
It was really funny.
What was he doing?
I felt as though he was kind of making fun of the typical TED talk. Like he was like, listen, once you have like this, you make this kind of gesticulations, you walk a certain way, you have a certain pace, you have a certain tone, you start off on a high and you come down on a low, you have a little PowerPoint presentation, you have like the perfect, all the ingredients, the perfect mix of a TED talk, and you would sound intelligent, even though you say nothing.
Right. Right. So you felt that. What about another perspective? Thank you for that comment. Anyone else? Anyone thought he was really doing nothing, and it really was quite, you know, kind of ridiculous?
I thought it was like running irony when you actually think about it, because although he did say he was not doing anything, he actually did something. He showed that, you know, you literally have to fake it till you make it. Confidence is everything, especially the part where he said, if the YouTube video were muted, I would have genuinely thought that he was giving a valid presentation.
Sure. I think also another way, even if it wasn't muted, if it were in a foreign language that we didn't know, from the intonation and the things that he was doing, you would also hear it in the vocal tone. You would really feel like it was the,
definitely. Delivery is everything, definitely.
Yes, exactly. So somebody else had a point. Somebody else was going to say something.
I found what he did was that he broke down how to really do a TED Talk and how to really go about a TED Talk, even if you have nothing to say really and truly, because it's to build time and it's to build up certain things and it's to pass the time at times, because the formula really is there for most TED Talkers. Right.
Okay. So I don't know if any of you are going to do a TED Talk next week, but maybe this is another one to kind of go back and check if you think it was useful. All right, so what I actually did was I looked at the comments that came after. Sorry, I'm still admitting a few people. Here we go. I was looking at the comment. Yes, sorry. Someone was saying something. No? Okay. All right. So I looked at the comments and they kind of, you know, skewed, or no, not skewed. They diverged in a couple of ways. One of them, one kind of group of comments were comments like this. He talked for almost 6 minutes with no content. I still can't believe it. So people actually found that quite funny. They really felt that there was no content that they got from it. It was just, you know, just someone talking and showing the ridiculousness of a format that you could use in order to make yourself seem like and sound like you're doing something when actually you weren't. The other group of comments said he's not criticizing it. This format is the most effective by far, and it's more of a self-aware demonstration. So we're not doing this on Blackboard Collaborate today, so we can't do the poll questions, but I suspect some of us would think, you know, I didn't really appreciate what he was doing, or I understood what he was doing, but I didn't appreciate the way he was doing it. And so we would either go down this road of being kind of X viewers, if you like, and focus on the talk in a certain kind of way, or down the road of Y viewers and focus on it in a certain way. I suspect there are, you know, kind of divergent views in the room. All right, so I was asking you what the presenter's doing.
Dr. Shepherd, you're muted.
Sorry, thank you. That's me moving my tabs around, and I keep touching the button by mistake. So I suspect we're either X or Y, and I think X viewers might think that this is a kind of a what not to do something that is just about the stylistics, just about the style and presentation, and therefore, you know, deliver something with no content. And the others might think, well, this is a roadmap of what you can do. So I suspect we fall in both categories. So how does this talk work? How does it work? So we've said, you know, we've said some of the things about what the presenter's doing. Let's just define, if we can, in a few ways that could provide information to anyone else watching it, how this is working. For those of us who think this is a roadmap, what steps? How would you identify the steps? Okay, let me ask it in a different way. What is he formatting? What is he foregrounding, would you say? Anna Marie.
First of all, he proved that the hypothesis is actually true. That's the first thing.
Sorry, which hypothesis? His hypothesis?
No, the one that you began with.
Oh, okay. Well, have I got you to agree that my hypothesis is correct already?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, thank you. You have a lot of confidence in what I'm doing. Thank you, Dwight. Okay, but in terms of the actual presenter, what was he foregrounding? What was he?
Hi.
Hi there.
So I think from what I gathered, he spoke about certain things that you kind of need to have, or certain elements that make or break the type of speech, right?
Yes.
So things that stood out to me, he spoke about certain gesticulations.
Yes.
He spoke about tone and the modality of voice as you move throughout the presentation, starting on a high versus a low. He made reference, and he actually called it out. He was like, listen to what I started with and what I'm finishing with. So making that direct link from your starting point to your finishing point, and kind of coming full circle in your TED talk.
Yes.
He spoke about, you know, the power of imagery, I guess, used in the presentation. So he, you know, talking about the thought-provoking stock images. He had no idea it meant anything. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
So, you know, like the idea that your PowerPoint presentation could enhance your speech.
Yes.
You know, whether it is that you're using certain statistics, or like he spoke about different facts. So these are helpful things that help persons or people in the audience to like relate to your topic at hand. And yeah, that's about it. Right.
But could you burrow it down into one point? Like if you had to say if you had to instruct someone about, you know, could you give the overarching category of what's actually happening, what he's actually doing?
Persuading, should I say persuasion, or the art of persuasion, maybe?
He was persuading. I think that's a little bit abstract though, in the sense that if I were someone listening, if I wanted advice on, you know, what is he doing, is there another way we could say it? without all of the ideas, but rather more the approach.
Maybe engagement.
There is engagement. I like these words. They're all good words. I was thinking about this, and I had this impression that he was really foregrounding the format. And what he was doing was he was giving information of the format through the example, but what he actually did, because the content of what he was doing was actually the delivery, so the format and how you approach that format, he took out any distracting information, if you like. Do you agree with me or disagree? Or have I made my point clear?
So do you
Well,
mean that he showed us
like
the
no
shell?
actual content. He literally just gave us the format. He was not speaking about anything else besides the format.
Yes. Okay. Dwight, what were you going to say? You said something. I missed it.
No, I was just saying that he demonstrated the shell of the TED talk, but when you got right down to the middle, well, there was nothing there now.
Yes, yeah. It's quite difficult to pin down, isn't it? There was actually content. We were seeing the content that he was giving through his process of delivery, but there was none of the content in terms of informational value that you could say that you got off the slides, for example. So I mean, I think we're there. I think we're there. That's perfect. All right. Now I think we're going to run out of time. Let's just do a couple more slides, then we'll come back on this link. All right. So so these are some more comments. These are from Y viewers, I think, which I think you know, some of us are. We've already had this one. He's not criticizing it. This format is the most affected by far. And it's a self-aware demonstration. And someone said they actually learned a lot from this. He used his voice pitch fluctuation to make the audience feel a certain way. He slowed words in the conclusion. And this is exactly what you've been saying. This is exactly what Tamika said and Anna-Marie said as well, with the eye contact and gesturing. So he really did a demonstration of the format. And as Dwight's saying, when you burrowed down, there was no information off the slides, but he was actually demonstrating information. And one other commentator gave us this. They actually mean in summary rather than in summation, but in summary, all of these points here. You know, all of the things that we've already said. Okay, so I can do this next slide before we run out of time. Let's come to this. I'm asking, what are the qualities associated with a technical presentation? And in a way, would you agree his presentation was technical? If I'm saying that these are the points that are required, if you agree with me that these are the points, that it's informational, that it's persuasive, and then we have this idea about an informed audience, which we can interrogate just now. Would you say that was a technical presentation or a non-technical presentation, if we're contrasting those two things?
I think yes, because in a way, wasn't the information itself the format? Like that was the information that he was giving, how to structure the TED Talk.
Yes, exactly. How to structure it and how to deliver it. It was those two things. So I would say that as a speaker, he did have information. I mean, it was presented in that odd way, as we're saying, in that it didn't come off the slides. It came through his presentation because his talk was about delivery. Now, was he persuasive? Did he nudge you towards sharing his opinion that that's a good way to do it? Were you persuaded? Did you think it was a good talk? I think many people said they thought it was a good talk. So I suspect I can assume that we were persuaded. And are we an informed audience? I'm going to have to do like a presenter and say, you have to answer quickly. We have 1 minute to go. Are we an informed audience, would you say?
I think so, yeah. Because I could actually agree with the comment from before that was saying that this is actually the best presentation format. And I'm like, no, I can actually pinpoint the direct things. So like,
right.
you know, like he outlined certain things, so now I could take literally his outline and check my checkbox.
Yes, right, wonderful. Let's come back on the same link. I'm going to end this meeting and we'll start over.